Respected viewers, respected brothers and sisters in Islam, respected brothers and sisters in humanity, peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After years of suffering from anti-Muslim hate through racism, insults, discrimination, stereotyping, bias, and acts of hostility that escalated to a number of tragic local terrorist attacks on Canadian Muslims that caused the death of 11 innocent people, injuring many more and traumatizing the entire Canadian Muslim community of almost 2 million innocent people, the Liberal government decided to hold a national summit on Islamophobia in July of 2021. Unfortunately, for those that attended, it was clear to us that the long-awaited summit was way below expectations, and many of us thought it was a perfect political move to lure the Muslim community voters just 2 months before the 2021 election. And just to mention one major failure, so no one will say that I'm exaggerating, the Muslim community leadership and many major organizations such as the Canadian Council of Imams was not even invited to a pre or post discussion, nor was given a chance to address the attendees at the summit. It was clearly a one-way communication, an advertisement show to share good feelings and false sentiments. Especially when Mr. Trudeau said it clearly, "I can't do anything. After 6 years in power, my hands are tied." And he also said, on failing to fight Islamophobia, that is the promise our country must work hard to live up to, because too many times and for too many people, that promise has been broken. However, the Liberal government have promised to create a position similar to other minorities that have enjoyed the benefit and respect of similar position for a couple of years. On January 2023, the appointment was announced. We are pleased to see that promise coming true. And we're very happy that our sister Amira Gawabi, the known human rights activist, was appointed as the first special representative on combating Islamophobia. Sister Amira has been serving our community for many years. She's done a great work in fighting Islamophobia, racism, and hatred, and discrimination. We stand behind her and wish her all the best in her new role. But the real question remains, can we still trust the Liberal Party, especially with the continuous disappointments delivered on our community's major issues since they came to power in 2015? There are two main issues that we're talking about here: the continuous attacks on mosques and the systemic discrimination, especially by security agencies and the CRA. And that was confirmed by Mr. Trudeau in his remarks at the summit. I quote, "There's no question that there is work to be done within government to dismantle systemic racism and Islamophobia. Because from the Canada Revenue Agency to the security agency, institutions should support people, not target them." End of quote. Respected community members, it is time for us to get real about addressing this growing issue. It is time for us to hold the bull by the horns. Is the Liberal government doing enough to protect the Muslim community from hatred and ultimately murder? Especially when compared to our community's unconditional support and dedication to the party for many years and in all possible forms: votes, financial support in hundreds of thousands of dollars, volunteers, party members, and last but not least, the number of prominent Muslim politicians in the party. We have MPs, we have ministers, and party officials. In conclusion, and based on the shaken trust, and after reviewing the application of this position, the process, and the reactions after the announcement of the appointment, I believe we should have two main concerns about this position. The first one is the indirect pressure to change the Muslim identity and principles built in this position. How is that possible? In the past few years, we have seen many Ontario schools aggressive focus on Muslim students to promote the concept of self-identification and the intersectional identity. What does that mean? Basically, is to convince Muslim students that according to Islam, it is all right to be Muslim and gay at the same time. How do we know this? There are too many incidents to confirm this claim. We've all seen the poster that were displayed in the Oakville School portraying two Muslim women wearing hijab and two Muslim men posing as homosexual couples. And many of us received the YouTube video that was encouraging Muslim girls to rebel against their families and religion. And many of us received the brochure that have statements from some unknown Muslim names encouraging Muslim students again to rebel against their religion. And many of us heard about the Ottawa school that held special sessions for Muslim students and invited a gay, self-claimed imam to convince students that Islam accepts homosexuality. And the second indicator is the conversion therapy ban law that was approved unanimously in Parliament in January of 2022. The bill states any counseling session with one's child, and I'm talking between parents and their own child, that includes rejecting the idea of any non-traditional gender or preferring a traditional gender over others, could be subjected to 5 years in jail. It also clearly undermines holy books and religious teachings by calling them a myth. So what does that have to do with the special representative on combating Islamophobia? If you read the position's mandate, it states that the appointed person serves as a champion, advisor, expert, and representative to the Canadian government for the purpose of enhancing efforts to combat Islamophobia. This is great. This is what we expect. However, it doesn't stop there. It goes on to state this person will promote awareness of the diverse and intersectional identities of Muslims in Canada. Why is the special representative on combating Islamophobia, who is supposed to be working on protecting Muslims and help them to safely practice their religion and be proud about it, as stated by the Prime Minister in the summit, why would this person be promoting what is considered controversial diversity and intersectional identities within the Muslim community? What does that have to do with combating Islamophobia and Muslim hatred? I really don't know. In the light of this chaotic attempt to interfere with Islam's principles, I would like to take the opportunity to explain in simple terms the meaning of principles in Islam. First, there is only one Muslim, the code-compliant Muslim. And the code is the Holy Quran and the Sunnah, which is the teachings of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Muslims are simply people that comply with the undisputed code, rules and regulations of Islam as received from our Prophet and preserved for over 1400 years. How do we know it was preserved? Because Allah, the Creator, the one who gave us and revealed the Holy Quran, told us in chapter 15, verse 9, "Indeed, it is we who revealed the Quran, and indeed we will preserve it." And this code contains fixed principles that are meant by the Creator to preserve the core of the religion, the doctrine, and ruling on major issues that could have a severe impact on humans, individuals, and societies. But there are also variable rules that are meant to be flexible in order to accommodate changes and developments in life. So, Islam will always be applicable in all times. Islam never expires. Islam never gets outdated. Now, someone might ask, so a Muslim that wrongs or breaks any of these rules will no longer be a Muslim? The simple answer is, it depends. In Islam, there are primary rules and secondary rules, constant set in stone permanent rules, and fixed principles, and there are variables changing rules. Furthermore, in Islam, there are major matters and minor matters. And to keep it simple, a Muslim that violates a minor rule will have to repent and should try his or her best to never go back to it. And Allah is merciful and all-forgiving, and He will forgive minor sins. And the sincere wrongdoer will always seek forgiveness from his Creator. However, if this Muslim decides to violate a major rule and a fixed principle in Islam and will do it deliberately and openly, not only that, if this Muslim claims that Islam's undisputed ruling on fixed principles are wrong, then they have just opted out of Islam by their own will. In conclusion, there is no such a thing as self-identified Muslim that chooses to be Muslim and decides to act against the principles and the code of Islam. There is only one Muslim, the code-compliant Muslim. Now, for those that would say, but there are different opinions on many issues, and Islam is about balance. Well, I'm sorry to break the news to you. The difference of opinions are only on minor rulings and minor matters. They are never on major issues and on principles. And as for the balance, Islam is about principles, then balance. Now, back to promoting diversity and intersectional identity that includes self-identification. Is this position meant to change the Muslim identity as identified by Islam's code? I really hope not, but time will tell. I hope this short lesson on Islamic principles will put things in perspective for the Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, and for the Liberal Party, both federal and provincial. As for the second concern that is already surfacing even before Sister Amira starts her job, the political dimension of the position. Is there a hidden political utilization of this position? Let us evaluate. We all know that the rise of Islamophobia and the multiple attacks and the murder of many innocent Canadian Muslim citizens happened during the time of the Liberal government. And we've all seen how the Liberal government held the National Summit on Islamophobia in July of 2021 as an attempt to put a band-aid on this issue. Also, it is known in politics that the Liberal Party is getting to the end of the typical maximum term in government. And now it's the best time to play politics of fear, using fear to sway the Muslim Canadian voters from considering supporting any conservative candidate, especially after the huge community campaign to support Patrick Brown that opened the doors widely to a bigger collaboration and dialogue with the Liberals' biggest rival, the Conservative Party. And let us talk about the politicians' reactions after announcing the appointment of Amira Al-Gawabi. The Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre, accused Amira Al-Gawabi of having anti-Quebec, anti-Jewish, and anti-police remarks. He claimed that he is accepting the position but will never work with Amira Al-Gawabi. The Bloc Québécois leader, Yves-François Blanchet, after meeting with Amira Al-Gawabi, when she offered her apology, declared that the apology was not enough and the federal government's new position should be scrapped. Let us be clear. We have no doubt that he does not represent the opinion of all Quebecers. As Dr. Lashmi, the president of the Toronto Metropolitan University, beautifully stated in his recent article in the Toronto Star. But Dr. Lashmi also said that Mr. Blanchet doesn't think that this position is needed. Then Dr. Lashmi questioned, what further proof does he want and how many people have to be hurt or killed? I guess it's a valid question. Looking at the picture of Sister Amira sitting on the side of the table in her meeting with Mr. Blanchet was very painful. It hurts to see Sister Amira already stressed out and she hasn't even started her job. Unfortunately, this is definitely turning into an early federal election leadership debate. It is very hard to see that the Muslim community has no weight in this political battle. And we can't even stand by Sister Amira and empower her while she is unfairly caught in this political crossfire. Who advised Sister Amira al-Gawabi to apologize? How did we go from "I have nothing to apologize for" to this? Does opposing a law that is viewed by many experts as discriminatory and shameful, especially by Tom Mulcair, the former leader of the NDP, does opposing such law now merits an apology and humiliation? It gets even worse. Despite of the apology, Mr. Blanchette came out saying that he is not satisfied and he actually wants this position to be scrapped. This is very sad. The new official position that was created to protect the Canadian Muslim community from anti-Muslim hate and Islamophobia is becoming a source of bullying and disrespect to the entire community. It is indeed sad to see that this fight is no longer about the new position, nor about Amira al-Gawabi. It's becoming clear to all that it's about scoring political points and gaining more voters in preparation for the next federal elections that's about to happen, as many analysts said. The Conservative Party and the Bloc Québécois leaders are focused on proving that the Prime Minister is failing to manage any public file, whether it's economy, COVID, security, racism against French, or patriotism. These are all perfect ammunitions for these parties to shoot down any possibility for the Liberals to win enough seats and to form a government in the next election. So, is the Liberal Party and its leader, Mr. Trudeau, going to stand up for justice as they always claim? Or they will choose to throw the entire Muslim community under the bus for the sake of politics in order to stay in power? Again, time will tell. In conclusion, anti-Muslim hatred or Islamophobia is not just about targeting Muslims. It also includes targeting their religion and trying to force foreign ideas on them. All Canadian citizens, all Canadian communities have the right to safety and to practice their religion without any outside interference. The Canadian Muslim community deserves and demands respect from all parties and all party leaders. I hope that my words will resonate with all Canadians, all people of reason and compassion.